All right. Welcome to this Monday's meditation and the part of the basic mindfulness course. This is, I think, is our fifth session already, and I've really enjoyed walking through this again. It gives me also this opportunity to sit. It's so beautiful. Um, if you're coming across this for the first time as a video, and my name is Steph Skupin, and I work with people with challenging careers and life situations using mindfulness and inquiry to to enable us to let go and to see more clearly, so that we can meet life with more ease and with more clarity. And this is my second year of Monday meditations. Today we're going to look at being mindful with our thinking mind. And yeah, the mind thinks that's its job. And the thoughts they're a way of the mind to interpret the world for you. They're an attempt to explain yourself to yourself. So looking at it, it is sweet. It is a supportive thing, this thinking that is going on. Of course, the explanation of who you really are in all your complexity and beauty and depth is not found in those interpretations. But that complexity, that essence of who we are, can be glimpsed when we sit in silence in between all that mental noise, in those moments when we're just quiet with, sunlight on the morning dew or a rainbow. And when we're in that essence, we can experience life with more clarity. We can see and watch, we can observe what's happening, and we can be more conscious with that experience. And in that understanding, when we're reaching this kind of understanding, then the thinking mind and the world and you are all a block of the same. They're all one and the same. It's the one. And then from that viewpoint, looking out from that point, what's happening in the world is a play. It's a cosmic play. And the thoughts are part of, the dialogue, part of the dialogue, the inner dialogue in that. And when we look at our thinking mind, all the things that go on through it, all the judgments and stories, and if we look at it like a play, like a big drama, we can take it a little bit less seriously, and as a result, we're not drawn into it with quite the same force. And the result of that is we don't suffer as much. And that, of course, is the end point of the meditation practice, that golden fleece or the holy grail of meditation, is to be able to be present like that, without getting drawn into thinking. And I want to repeat also what I say in the first lesson of this, is that we have to let go of that holy grail when we sit, because otherwise we'll drive ourselves crazy, because we're constantly falling short of it, and that is part of the practice. So until we get to that understanding of this is who I am, this is the being of what I am, the thoughts will continue to try to interpret and explain the world for us. And of course, many of the thoughts coming through concern themselves with things that you like or dislike, and have for a long time. And they remind you in various ways of who or what you are, going on about your past and going on about your future. All the thinking, it's always around our world, who we are. And so there's a lot of repetitive thinking as a result. And that's not even a problem as long as we don't believe everything that we think. And this is one of my favorite Byron Katie quotes, is like, you don't have to believe everything that you think. Because thoughts really aren't a measure of truth. They're very real. They're very real energetic output. But most of the time, they're not necessarily a truthful reflection of the world. And even science has cottoned onto that by now, that we have a part of our forebrain they call the interpreter that will actually interpret our perception according to what we already know, rather than allowing us a clear picture of what is in front of us. And of course, that leads to countless misunderstandings about the world and countless misunderstandings between people. Because, of course, habitually, we believe ourselves when we think. They don't respect me. They don't like me. I failed. It's one of my favorites at the moment. I'm not good enough. I failed. Um, yeah, and I'm sure you've come across that, or that comes across for you at times as well. And it's always, so interesting to see what we would what we would be like instead if we would see our thoughts as an interpretation of what's as an attempt at interpretation. It looks like they don't respect me. This is what it looks like. Is that true? Is this what's really happening? So can we take that step back and go like, is that really true? I'm not good enough. Is that really true? This practice moves us from being enslaved to the unconscious thinking to being able to use the mind, because now we can marshal counter arguments, we can use proof, find proof. And so inquiring into our thinking like that creates a space. It creates a moment of watching and listening and being fully aware. Um, and that's what we can do when we sit in meditation is watch what's coming through with our full awareness. And so in that moment, we begin to see the world with more clarity. And often it's a world that is supportive and that's actually showing us kindness and interest and opportunity rather than judgment. And of course, a lot of people think that in meditation, you should stop the mind, which of course doesn't work. You can move away from specific thoughts, especially if they're recurring traumatic thoughts. It's definitely a good idea to bring the focus to another point. We can push thoughts away or we can suppress them, but they will come back. And you can use a mantra to override that spontaneous thought. But a lot of the time, after you're done chanting, they will come back. But if instead you welcome your mind with understanding and with love, then those thoughts can slow down and they start to let go of you, because we lessen that attachment, because we allow them to come through. It's like, here it comes. Like, the famous clouds before the blue sky, just watching them move through. And of course, sometimes there's a thunderstorm and then it all looks pretty dark. But we do know that, like with any storm, it'll pass, and so does the thought thinking. So in our meditation today, we'll practice noticing the thoughts coming in together with the sensations and the emotions that these thoughts create, and they drag along with them. Together, those are the fullness of our experience in any given moment. And so as we sit, we notice the breath and then the other facets of the experience coming in and coming through, and we acknowledge them with a friendly greeting, with gratitude, respect. We can name them, notice the fullness of that story that comes through. and then allow them to move on. Just, yeah, move through without clinging to it. So let's get ready to meditate. The invitation is to sit comfortably and easily, and to close your eyes, taking a deep breath in and breathing out. And then again, allowing the breath to come in, noticing the way the chest expands and collapses and the breath is flowing out again. Notice your rhythm of breath in this moment. Whether that is deep or shallow, or fast or slow. Just your natural rhythm of breath right now. Notice the sensation of the breath, the air flowing past your nostrils and down the throat. The sensation as the body expands, the chest expands, collapses. And with the next breath, follow the sensation of the breath all the way down into the body, all the way down to the feet. Become aware of the sensation of the feet touching the ground, maybe touching each other. Noticing the touch of shoes or socks or carpet on skin. Being aware of the sensations of the inner body, of the feet. Becoming aware of the ankles, the lower legs, the knees, the thighs, the hips, buttocks, and the genital region. Becoming aware of the lower abdomen, noticing any tension or pain, tightness, discomfort. Just allowing it to be there right now. Becoming aware of the stomach and the liver region just underneath the ribs. Once again, noticing the chest. The shoulders. The arms and the hands. And becoming aware of the whole length of the spine. From the bottom of the spine to the base of the skull. And gently checking for any areas of tension, discomfort. Becoming aware of the throat. Becoming aware of the face. Jaw. The tongue. The temples. Forehead. And the area of the eyes. Notice if you can feel, become aware of the sensations of the eyes themselves, the eyeballs. If that's not a gruesome concept, just noticing them resting. Becoming aware of the top of the head. And the back of the head. See if you can be aware of the sensation of the inner body of the head. And then expanding the awareness to become aware of the whole body. As you're aware of the body, notice that soft rhythm of inhalation and exhalation. Notice after a while, there will be a wave of an experience that will get stronger and might move your attention away from the breath. And this wave might be coming up and getting stronger, and notice it and just acknowledge it with the same kind attention that you've given to the breath. Just notice this experience coming in. Maybe it has a sensation with it. You can name it in your thoughts. Call it tension or tingling or pain or itchiness, restlessness, whatever it is. Notice if from that one original thought more will come up. It's my cheeks are tingly. My feet want to move. I need to scratch my leg. Notice how that story expands with your thinking. And just notice with that same kind attention. Sometimes the first that we notice is an emotion, a sensation that we have given a name. And again, just notice, and internally you can gently name it. Uneasy, fear. Worry, or maybe calm, joy. And notice that if we stick to it, it expands. Joyful sitting in meditation. Itchy because I want to move. This is so difficult. I don't like this sitting. Or, oh, so relaxing. So good to do this at the end of the day. Notice the story expanding, more and more thoughts coming in. And just allow it to happen. Notice, bow to it, and allow it to pass. It might be a whole big wave of thoughts coming in, bringing that big story. And again, just notice, acknowledge, name, planning, dinner, memory, remember, judging. Just be with it in loving awareness. Noticing the story of your world unfolding within you. And watching it and greeting it, acknowledging with respect, with gratitude, some with enjoyment. And just allow it to move on out of your awareness. Bringing the attention gently back to the breath. These thoughts and sensations and emotions are your experience of the world and being aware of them without getting lost in them, without being identified, taking them for all that you are. That is the skill of being awake, awake to this moment. Who is thinking these thoughts? Notice the totality of your experience right now. Notice thinking, interpretation, sensation, emotion. Gently name them and allow them to move on. Byron Katie calls thought your original addiction. And just notice how important these thoughts seem and how real, how central to your life. Notice the thoughts. Notice the emotions. Notice the sensations. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Once again, become aware of the feet, the legs, knees and thighs. Become aware of the sits bones, the lower abdomen, the chest, stomach and liver, the spine, the shoulders, the arms and the hands, the throat, and face and head. Once again, becoming aware of the whole body. Embodying that awareness. Embodying consciousness. Become aware of the chair or the surface you're sitting on. And become aware of your environment. And once again, take a deep breath in and breathe out. And in your own time, when you're ready, you open your eyes again. Thank you for spending this time to become mindful and, holding that frequency of mindfulness, of peacefulness, just for a little while. So yeah, have a good rest of your evening. Oh yeah, and of course the invitation is to sit every day this week. If you can sit for 20 minutes, if you can listen to the whole meditation. But also if you can't have that whole time, sit for 5 minutes just for that little bit so that you build that habit of mindfulness every day. And hope to see you next week.